Yeah, now it works.
That might be it.
Well, we're live now.
Well,
What a
this is
great start.
this
I
is gonna
know
be fun,
this is gonna be a disaster from start to the end. Um,
probably.
let's just see if it actually starts.
Yeah, it says it's live on my phone.
Oh my God, let's
What
go.
does it? Oh, it is. Yeah, it's just
Oh,
come up.
I can't see us. It's just the logo.
No,
It's
it's
just
come
like
up for me. I can see it now.
Oh, so we're now delayed on yours.
Somebody
Woo!
somebody liked it already.
Amazing.
That's me.
Was that you? Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I was
We-
like, if somebody's already in this chat
No
after
one's
having the
watching us.
fucking, I was like, that would have been impressive.
So we now look like we know what we're doing because we've just been talking about are we live yet? Like every stream to begin
Are we
with.
live yet? Are we live
Are we
yet?
live
Are we
yet?
live yet?
I mean, this better work because I do not have a recording of this. There is no backup. So if it doesn't work,
It is. To be fair, it is working. And
Okay,
if it crashes
well-
at any point, I'll
Yeah.
let you know. I'll keep it up on my left hand side.
sweet. Right. Anyway, welcome to Catching Out. um, as we are trying to do things a bit more structured going forwards, any orders of business, any news, any dodgeball news to go over since
Well, I think you should
Did-
explain. I was going to say you should probably explain that we're live for the people who are listening to this afterwards, because
Nah.
that first minute's not going to make any sense otherwise.
So, well, I mean,
Oh,
the
he's gonna
I'm
edit
I'm
it.
gonna edit the podcast audio, so the podcast
He's
audio is
not-
gonna go. Not gonna
Oh.
know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so all you subscribers out there watching on YouTube, you're getting this bonus content right now. All the podcast listeners are not gonna have a clue what I'm talking about. With that, welcome to Catching Out. If you are listening to us on audio, on podcast form on Spotify, go follow us on YouTube and subscribe, because then you'll get lovely lovely prompts from YouTube saying that we're live. And that's what we're going to try and do going forward, is to try and get a live episode out, just so it's easier to edit and going forward. We've been meaning to do this for a while, but yeah, organization wise, we're terrible, as you can tell from the amazing thumbnail for this episode.
When's the last time we had all three of us together?
Yeah, to be fair.
I genuinely can't even remember.
It was three episodes ago. I'm pretty sure it was the first episode that I had internet here.
Yeah,
Since
yeah.
then,
That's
since
about
then,
right.
you guys have kept ditching me.
Wow.
Not to call you out.
All
or anything.
right. Listen, all I want to know is, did Joey have the shots?
So, yeah, that's the question.
Did not.
You did not have the shots.
I can tell already you didn't get that reference.
See, Zoe really cares
Oh,
about
I
the
see.
content we put out, because she definitely listened back to our last episode.
I think
You
she's
told me
aware.
in the chat that I needed to have shots because I wasn't there.
Oh yeah, we did actually message her, to be fair.
You did actually message me separately.
Maybe we were the drunk ones.
She just doesn't. She just doesn't know how many she was meant to have.
Oh, yeah.
Right, we are on a time limit, guys. So we've got an
Yes.
hour starting now. So let's go. Let's focus. So yeah, if you're
let's
listening,
go.
God, that was the start of last episode, Colin. You can't repeat that. Yeah, so if you're listening to us after this has gone live, or you're listening to us on audio formats, go find us on YouTube. We are going to be trying to live stream going forward. It'd be great to join if you want to join us in the chat. And yeah, we'll try and get that going forward. We're still figuring it out, so bear with us. But yeah, it'll be good to have a bit of an interactive episodes as we go along. So yeah, please do that. Any other orders of business that we were talking about? Any other? Go on, Zoe. Hands up.
I did tell you guys about this beforehand. I don't know if it's official now. It's kind of been official for like a month. I'm the new head of media for European Dodgeball Federation, which is very exciting. But yeah, I'm basically pulling together a team from all different nations and just kind of getting together a media team to put out media. I've said the word media so many times, it doesn't sound real. So yeah, if anyone's interested in helping out with that, either on like sort of graphic design side of things, video editing, video recording, website, all those kind of stuff, anything under media basically, if you're interested in helping out, just send me a message. Don't send it to Catching Out. Send it to me specifically. This has nothing to do with Catching
Yeah,
Out.
we don't do anything, but just so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
It's
do
just
enjoy
me.
eavesdropping on conversations, to be fair. That's a
Yeah.
joke. Please do not bombard Snapchat with this request, please.
We do not have insider knowledge.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Anything else? I'm trying to remember. Oh, England trials. So if you want to be part of the development squad, there was a thing that went out on social media. If you didn't see every single club and uni club post it on Instagram, what are you doing? Like, do you even follow any dodgeball clubs? Yeah. So
That was
basically,
so funny.
it was very cringy, but yeah. By the
Yeah.
way, England are looking for people who have only got 2 years experience, or between what is it, 18 and 23? I think the things
Yeah,
are.
it's 23.
Up to
Yeah.
23, yeah.
So if you meet that very narrow criteria, by all means go and find the information on Instagram. We don't have any links, I'm afraid, but go find it on Instagram. It's England Lions on Instagram. But if you want to actually be part of a team and not a development squad, Wales are looking for players to join their trials. So go find the Wales Dragons Instagram page and Facebook. All the details are on there. Get in contact with them. Let them know that you want to play, and I'm sure they'll love to have you there at trials. So yeah, that's the trials information out of the way. We did see on Instagram England Lions doing their trials on, or not trials, it was just a training session, I think.
No, it was senior
Closed
trials.
Was it
Yeah,
senior
yeah,
trials? So it was closed trials.
Closed trials, yeah.
Closed trials, yeah, last weekend. It's good to see that. Preparation for Euros already underway. Are they? Would you say that's early or late? I don't know. Hard to say, especially when we don't know when
say,
Euros is.
Yeah, I would say for a usual year it's a bit late, but because Euros this year is, according to Max Golder, 99% confirmed going to happen in Croatia, then yeah, I think it's probably about the right time to start properly prepping for Euros now.
Cool. I don't think I have anything else that I've seen.
I don't think this happened last. We talked about Dave Preston's leaving England last time, but now
Yes.
Dave Poole is also confirmed to have left his post for what was the wording? Future projects. It felt like, like this like work emails that go around whenever somebody's moving on to a new company. That's what it felt like whenever I was reading it. But yeah, he must have been part of the England setup for years now.
Yeah.
Helping a lot of people come through. So that's
if you
a
don't know
very
who he is,
experienced coach loss.
Yeah, if you don't know who he is, there's a whole episode where he talks about his experience with the Dodgeball podcast with Sergio. So go give that one a listen, and you'll find out all you need to know. Yeah, that's all I have to say, to be honest.
I felt very shut down there.
Sorry, Colin. We've only got an hour. We're 5 minutes in. Like, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Referees. There was a referee meeting on Monday, so if you're interested in refereeing, keep an eye out because there is information, I'm sure, to be followed on that. So if you want to get involved in refereeing, whether it's regionals or nationals, always looking for more referees. But yeah, that'll be coming out.
Do your part for the community.
Yeah, do your bit. British Dodgeball needs you.
They need referees more than they need podcasters these days. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
To be fair, I referee and podcast. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need more podcasts.
Yeah. This isn't a threat. This isn't a threat. This isn't us telling others like don't try and compete with us. Like it's not worth it. Just become a referee instead. You'll be better off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you should get paid for that.
I was gonna say you get paid for being a referee. We don't get anything for this.
Yeah, we just do this out the kindness of our heart for your content souls, for more British Dodgeball content.
Content souls, Jesus Christ.
That's dire.
Yeah. Anyway, so I realised that we just like completely skipped doing our intro. So let's mute up and we'll do the intro now. and we'll just go straight into it.
Am I allowed to speak now?
You can speak now. You can keep
Yay.
dancing if you want. You can do your traditional dance. That's you know, I'm not going to stop you.
That's for us to do. That's like our moment, you know.
The highlight of every episode.
It's the dancing that no one else can see, and then just
Exactly. It's
What-
like
what-
the butcher's cut when you're like, you know, butchering a cow. There's like a specific cut of the meat that only the butchers are allowed to have. That's what that dance is. This is just for us, and it's by far the best part of the episode.
yeah.
What an analogy! Right,
As a
before
vegan, I
before
totally
start-
understand and relate with that.
Right, okay. Before I start with myself, Women's League One.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was
Uh,
dodgeball played by
there
several
was.
teams.
Yeah.
Some good dodgeball, some bad dodgeball, but you know, that's what we expect in all league meets.
Yeah.
Who played the bad dodgeball, Nick?
I don't like to out people.
I wasn't going for that, but yeah, we can start with that. Zoe, do you want to go first?
Yeah, no, not
Leeds,
really.
Leeds had a great time, and I don't want to talk about it.
If
No.
anybody had a great time during this, it was me.
Ugh.
I got yelled at by somebody for apparently manifesting your loss.
I mean, it wasn't me. I didn't yell at you for it.
It was nobody on the podcast. It was an avid viewer who
Yeah.
came up and said I somehow manifested Leeds losing, even though I only guessed it out of spite.
Yeah.
Where I was like, fuck it, I'll take a beating on this one, you know, just for the content. So I somehow narrowed the gap on Zoe minorly following this result.
I think the big takeaway from that as well is that it wasn't a close match. But that's the 17-5
I
scoreline.
was really shocked to see the result, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a shock playing that match as well, just how much of a difference there was between the two teams. I think we talked about it quite a lot between the two matches, because you can see there's a 2-game match between that 17-5 loss to White Tigers and the
Yeah.
26 win against Crocs later on in the day. And we basically just sat around as a team and went, what the actual fuck happened there? Like, what were we doing
I
wrong?
don't
Why wasn't it
understand.
working? We sort of changed tactics from being, you know, the classic sort of Leeds defensive style to being like, okay, now we need to be aggressive, which worked even worse because half the team has never done aggression before. And so if, you know, you're not backing each other up, you're not used to it, it's not the usual playing style. So then it got worse, and we're like, right, let's just go back. And that made things again worse. And it was just like, it didn't work. I think we just got on our own heads quite a lot, and it's a team that is made up of a lot of people who don't train together. That's the simple fact of Leeds, is that at the moment we haven't all trained together. I've been to 1 Leeds training, I think, total. I need to go to another. You know, half the team don't live near Leeds or near enough that they can go every week. So you kind of see that when you're against a team like White Tigers, where they're very well drilled and they just responded better to us. And as a team, we didn't know how to come together and change tactics completely as a squad. I think that's the thing, that we were all doing different things on court because we all had different opinions about how to get it to
Yeah.
work better, and that made it worse.
I was shocked because of how well you'd done against Wessex.
Yeah.
And then to see this result, that's why I was really shocked by it. I'll be
Yeah.
honest, I didn't get to see any of it because I was supporting the Honeybees
Yeah.
and the court beside. But
And to be fair as well to White Tigers played a very, very good game. They were getting
you have to,
lots
yeah.
of catches. They're a very good catching team. We already knew that, but they were really getting it this time. And they were taking their running counters and counters in general really well. They were getting a lot of people out from standing counters as well. It felt like I don't think that match was recorded, so you'll have to take my word for it on that. But that's what it felt like playing it. It just felt like a lot of counters, a lot of, you know, catches, and just we couldn't really do anything.
You can
Which is,
100% blame me for that, for not getting the recording. I was too busy
the
ball
footage
retrieving.
was corrupted, folks.
Yeah, that was
putting
that's
that
what it
out
was.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The SD card just got, just fell out my hand. But no,
It got corrupted by me stamping on it after the match.
every single player just walking by, just going, nope. But no, yeah, from a ball retrieving perspective, it was weird to see how, like, I don't remember many catches being made that game by Leeds, and Leeds are a catchy
No.
team. So to see not many catches being made was a bit of a shock. But then you go and watch the Canterbury match, the second one, and it's like everyone put sticky mitts on and remembered how to catch again. And everyone was probably, I'd say, fishing for everything, and it was just sticking as well. Like the confidence in that second match, like, was insane. So
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it fishing. I think it was just that there were times when we could go for the catch or could not go for the catch. And in that second match, we were going for it. We were like, okay, we can't lose another match. And it was a really fun game. That Crocs match, it's nice when you've had a really bad match and you come out of it and go into a really good one the next time and you can see visually the improvement. But then also just like playing against Crocs is really fun. I really enjoyed playing against, like, I was in front of Lauren English and I came out of that match being like, that was one of the most, like, the best winger sort of battles that I've had this season. It was so much fun playing against them. They're just a really nice team. They had 2 new players, I think, as well, which made it a little bit tricky for them out of a 6-person squad. So it was a bit, not necessarily the usual Crocs either. But yeah, I think the other takeaway, just score lines purely, is that 20-6 scoreline. That's quick playing. That's not a 20 total point match. It's a 26 total point match. So it's a quick sets with we're finishing out the sets and we're closing them up, which isn't how Leeds normally play. And I think after we noticed that the aggression wasn't working in that first game, we were like, okay, how do we get the aggression to work, and can we test out that aggression in the second match? And we tested it out and it works. So potentially something
it was brutal
to
at times.
going forward.
Like, at that one, I was in the coach's box and I was doing the timing, and the amount of times I didn't get to 1 minute left, it was just like, hey, right, yeah.
Just putting out there, as soon as you got rid of Nick as a ball retriever, you started winning.
I wasn't going to say that.
Whoa. But look at it the other way. As soon as you put Nick in the coaching box, okay.
No, it was the retriever thing. That
As
was
soon as you put him in the coaching box, things happen.
Demoted.
But I do want
I'm starting to see where the issues lie.
Moving on. Anyway, we are short on time, so let's look
Yes.
at let's not just focus on Leeds.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the Derby Phantoms Nighthawks game, because I did watch that one. That was a cracking game by Phantoms. They did really well with their catching, and that made a huge impact on how that game went. Nighthawks, like, the more I've watched them, the more it seems to be they're led by 1 or 2 players. And they rely on those 2 players to, like, they're really skilled players. I think it's Leah, I could be wrong, on one of the wings, that was doing really well, and she was basically organizing everyone, and that's what made the game really close, was just how organized Nighthawks were on the back of her. But it did come down to her quite a few times to try and get them out of holes, which she did a few times, but against a whole team consistently in a lot of sets, that's where Phantoms just edged it out by that one set. But it was close though. It was, I think Phantoms had it in the bag, and then Nighthawks won the last set or something like that. It was a good close game.
No, I watched this back on YouTube the other day, and I thought the Derby second women are really starting to adapt to the playing style of the rest of the Derby teams. Very well drilled, very smart decision making, looking for the high chance hits a lot of the time, and they started pulling that off quite well, similar to like the Derby women first team. So yeah, I if they keep on improving the way I've seen from the bits and pieces I've watched of them over the season, then they should be getting a lot more victories throughout the season.
Yeah,
would be my prediction.
I think the Spartans 2's Honeys match was also a really interesting one, because Honeys
Very
went
good one.
up quite a few sets in the first half. Like, I think there was 6-0 up or something, and then just
it wasn't
sort of
that much, but yeah, it was long.
it was they were ahead for sections of it, and then basically just sort of dropped the lead, and Spartans managed to climb back. And the Spartans just in general had a very, very good day. That 16-8 scoreline against Hartlepool is huge. And yeah.
I actually watched the Spartans Honeys game, cheering on the Honeys whenever I could. And the Honeys played some really good stuff. The Muds girls in particular played really, really well that game, and they were really stepping up. which is really nice to see. I think if you could probably put down to a bit of experience on the Spartans 2 side for handling the tighter sets. There's definitely a few sets that were there for the taking for the Honeys, and just a few poor decisions here and there is what really cost them.
Mm.
Which I can be all the difference between a big victory and a minor loss. That's all it was, you know. If those Honeys keep on training and playing together, like that, they will definitely start picking up the way they have. It's been really nice to see their development over the season. I'm really sorry that I bat on about this every week, but it's something that's really nice to watch.
You're
from
so
the
proud of
sidelines,
your bees, like in
I am okay.
every single team. Every time there's a Beasley team in this league, I'm so proud of the way they've done them. It's really impressive what they've done.
I like my
we
club.
we get it, Colin. We absolutely get it. Okay. But I want to say, I think the more impressive result is the Spartans versus Mavericks
Yeah.
result,
Yeah.
because Mavericks are a solid
Huge.
fourth in the league at the moment, and I think this might be a turning point for the Spartans in the scene, because they've just been so close in so many matches to coming away with those victories. Like, they've got 3 draws already. They definitely deserve more wins than they've already got. So let's hope this is a turning point and we see them like solidify and kick on into the second half of the season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely agree.
I think we could definitely see kind of a tightening of the pack, because that those two Sheriff scorelines, even though they're both losses, are much better scorelines than I think we would have expected from Sheriff's twos at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Those Spartan scorelines are really good. Like the Crocs matches were both, they had such a horrible day to be against both Wessex and Leeds, but they played really well, especially when you consider 2 of them
They
were
did, yeah.
not really usually there. That's an impressive score to come out of, and they played very well within those 2 matches, even if the scoreline doesn't always reflect it that well. So I think you could definitely see that kind of tightening start to happen in Derby as well. So yeah,
All
it'd be
right,
interesting.
we are a fifth of our time through, and we've only covered half of 1/5 of the league.
But it's the best league.
I mean, it is the best league. There hasn't been much changes as a result of those results, though. But yeah, it feels harsh looking at that one, seeing where Crocs are, because I definitely feel I feel this for quite a few teams. Like they probably deserve to be a bit better off. But I think Phantoms 2 have pulled up some great wins, and like they've had quite a good run lately. Which has definitely seen them jump up the table. And you know, they're really
That
close
win
to
against
Mavericks
Norwich
now.
is huge. Looking at that table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I definitely expected Nighthawks to be up there, and I think Spartans 2 and Crocs have been playing darn well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some more matches go their way in the second half of the season. And Bulls, Owls, White Tigers. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the second half of the season. Owls will need to beat Wessex, and it will come down to set difference if it comes out if it goes that way.
Yeah. Unless Wessex lose a match as well, and that's the thing. White Tigers could, if they beat Wessex, really get back into that top 2 promotion race. If they don't, then it's kind of foregone conclusion. But if they do win that puts so much pressure on the Leeds Wessex game and really opens things up a bit. But yeah, it will be set. It could very well be set difference, and that's very stressful for the rest of the season going into it. It should be for both teams to just be sat there like, we've got all the matches basically to go through a second time, but this time we have to do really well on each of them, and we have to get those set differences where we can.
It's a good job Euros is in October, because like your nerves after your penultimate matches, penultimate league meet, you have Wessex, and then the last league meet you have White Tigers. Your nerves are going to be absolutely shredded after that. You're going to need some time to recover before Euros, because, jeez, do not envy you. Going to be great watching, like they said on the neutral zone. Great to watch. I wouldn't want to be a part of. But yeah, any other comments before we go on to Women's Super League?
No, I think that's everything.
Sweet, right. Women's Super League. Before we go to the game that I know we really want to talk about, let's talk about Derby and Derby Phantoms versus Beagles first. Let's talk about
Derby Phantoms versus Beagles.
We're going to start drawing some conclusions.
God. Jesus. We have 3 people watching, and even though 2 of them are probably you guys.
Who?
I don't know. Like, Mum, if you're watching, I'm like, hi. But yeah, no. Don't put them away with your terrible puns, Colin. Come on, we need to keep these people interested.
That was a good one. Not having this. Slander.
But yeah, so what did people think of the Derby versus Beagles game? Who was there to watch, being able to watch it? That is. Oh God.
Um, I didn't see it, so that's basically my entire conclusion on it. But the thing that I'll say is that Beagles, I wouldn't have expected Beagles to draw that match because they haven't been
No.
on form recently, and I wouldn't say they were particularly on form that league meet either. That 10-12 scoreline against Sheriffs, much as I love Emily Walker and all the other Sheriffs whose names I definitely remember, then like 10-12 10-12 is not a scoreline that Beagles would have been happy with that match at the start of the season. I mean they're happy because they've got
Start of the
a
season, yeah.
win, but you
Yeah.
know, like now I feel like it's just part of the course now for them. They're sort of slipping quite a lot. So I would have expected Derby to be able to get that win, but Derby also had an interesting day. It's almost like the first league meet after Christmas and New Year, when nobody's exercised over Christmas and New Year, and half the teams can't get their regular players because people are still on holiday. Might be a bit of a weird league meet.
Hmm. I mean that Derby Beagles game. Beagles were up, I believe, for most of that match, and it was Derby who clawed it back. They were
Mm.
only ever up by 1 or 2 sets, but they were always up. And I think they did a lot of two-ball targeted throws, and they were getting quite a bit of success from it because they were doing. I think they were mainly targeting wingers from my memory. So they were targeting blockers, avoiding their catches, and they were doing two-ball throws, and they were slightly off-timed, so that you were getting two balls in the same place but one after each other. And I think that caught a few of the wingers out, especially when they were trying to block one and then run up to counter straight away. They were basically stepping into the ball a few times.
Mm.
It was a great game to watch. I definitely felt Derby were the more controlled team and they were more in control of the match, even though they were losing. And I felt that
Interesting.
I felt that at times Beagles were making some decisions that you just thought, like, what, why? Whereas more often the reason that Derby ended up going down wasn't because of a dumb decision or whatever. It was just there was a good play from the other side. Or you're right, Colm.
Yeah, my camera's having issues.
Fair.
Clearly.
But yeah, so it was an interesting game to watch. But I think the other Derby game was probably more interesting.
Probably. Yeah,
Probably more
definitely.
interesting. For our audio listeners, the Manchester Queen Bees versus Derby. Bearing in mind, Queen Bees haven't won or got any league points since the first league meet. They've been on a horrible losing streak. They were slipping down the table. They were seventh, and they're playing first place Derby Phantoms, undefeated Derby Phantoms, and they've got a draw 10-10. Wow.
With a team, dare I point out, where I think only 2 of the people on that lineup were playing for Queens at the start of the season, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Was Hannah? I think Hannah
Is
was
that
as well,
Hannah and
right?
Or was it
Cheska?
3?
Yeah, Hannah started off the
Ches-
season
was
there.
Cheska there? Okay,
Cheska,
so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
3.
Cheska
So
was
half
there.
the team were Queens at the start of the season, half of them were not.
Half of
So
them were,
that's
or four. To be fair, if you take Hannah out, or look at last season, none of them were playing Super League other than who's it, Cheska and who's the other
yeah,
one?
Victoria.
Becky,
Sorry,
not
yeah.
Vic. Vic wasn't
Was it?
there.
No, Vic wasn't there. No, it's
She not?
Becky and Cheska. No, she definitely wasn't.
Okay.
You are making it up.
Yeah, clearly.
Good to know that
And
you notice these things, Nick.
I no, because this feels like a Mandela effect now because I'm convinced I saw her last year playing for
no,
ones, but no,
No,
apparently
Vic
not.
was on ones last year.
wasn't.
She
Vic
wasn't.
wasn't there at the meet.
Yeah.
She didn't play this meet.
Oh, right. I see what you mean. Yeah, okay. That's who I thought. Right. Sorry. Yeah. God, it's been a
Idiot.
long day. It's been a long day.
Right. Back
Okay,
back
anyway,
to the
back
match
to it.
anyway,
Yeah,
right?
so
Like, and Queen, like, so my kind of takeaway from it is that Queens did play well and they took their opportunities where they were at, but by God, did Derby throw this away? Like, so many poor choices, and I kind of felt like they went in with the mentality we've won this before it even started, and it really showed. And how I feel like how they approached the final two sets really summed up the game. Like Blue had an amazing 3-on-1 comeback, but against three very experienced and good players, and I feel like they underestimated her, and she completely took advantage. And absolutely fair play to Blue. Like incredible set to turn around 3-1. And I thought she was going to throw up afterwards too, which
Yeah.
I mean,
scared the life out of
she
me.
thought she was too. Like,
Yeah.
she absolutely busted a gut. Like,
Like,
fair
unreal.
play. Like, that was an incredible performance.
And then also fair play to Meg for going up against, for like stepping up to the Queens against her old team and taking the biggest catch of the game in the final set to draw the match 10-all basically. Incredible scenes. As you can see on the footage, if I think it's on the Derby channel. I storm onto court like screaming my lungs off, and I had very little of a voice for the next day or two because of it.
Oh, it was great because we were just sat on the side like casually watching, and then we were just like, wait, this is a close game. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! It just went mental.
It was honestly, it was incredible, absolutely incredible, and the scenes of like everybody was cheering on the Queens because it was just so unexpected. Like, but fair play to them, especially like the mental turnaround from a tough loss against Valkyries. Like you wouldn't have been too surprised if they kind of went into the Derby game deflated, but they went in with energy and went like, we've got nothing to lose here. Everybody thinks we're going to lose, so let's just give it our all, and they did. And the draw was a worthy result because they didn't back down to Derby at all.
The only other game that I'll point out before we move on to the table is the Storm 2's Raptors game.
Yeah.
That was nuts because
spicy.
Well, it wasn't spicy. It was just sort of like
it was.
I was watching it, and I was like, I ended up stop watching at half time because I think it was like 8-2 at half time to Storm 2.
Yeah.
Like Storm 2 looked pretty comfortable. Kate Howard made this incredible catch on the sideline that was just hilarious. And there's a beautiful picture that that Craddock's got of just Kate just staring there in disbelief at the catch she just made. It was wonderful. But yeah, it was really well played by Storm 2. Like Tamara had a really good going on that one as well. There was one set if she was in by herself, and she did a really good job of making it go to time as well. So not to let Raptors get too much momentum in it. So really well played first half round. Like, you know what, with the players on court, Storm 2 have got this in the bag. They've got this organised. Walked away and then turned around, and I was just like, they're drawing. Raptors are winning. Raptors have won. Storm 2 didn't win a single set in the second half. I don't know what the hell happened, but they didn't win a single set in the second half. That is, I'd love to know what happened. I'm sorry I went away and didn't watch it, but geez, that's a great impressive result, and I think that means they're even on points difference between the two of them now. So
that's also a huge result for Queen Beans.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you move over to the table diagram, then you can see it really clearly that like Queens, if Storm 2 had won that match, Queen Bees would be in a much trickier position for the rest of the season. They're already in a tricky enough position to avoid relegation, but like now at least Storm 2 is still on just 4 points instead of 6.
They still have breathing space, which is huge.
Yeah.
Like that result was.
You've done that wrong though. The Raptors have 4 victory points. You put them down as 2.
Yep. Victory points. You've been playing board games a lot.
No, I mean, if I just say like points, points doesn't mean anything.
We're talking about the league table over. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Also,
I'll fix that.
top of the top 3. You can even argue top 4 is absolutely tight.
Yeah. 17.
And then 15 afterwards. Like,
yeah.
Some of those matchups are going to be incredible to watch.
Well, it's just like the top four and then the bottom six. Like,
It's
but
compact in
who
two different places.
who
Even in
knows?
fifth place, although Sheriff's like are definitely having a really big swing of momentum in their favor, like they are still technically in a bit of a relegation battle.
Oh,
Like
Oh
massive.
yeah,
a
they're only 4 points off the bottom. So if the bottom team got 2 victories and Sheriff's got none in the same meet,
yeah,
you switch places.
Just look at the
literally.
set difference, and that's your biggest defining factor of the two halves of the table. You got
Sheriff's
positive,
on minus
Oh
32,
my god,
Jesus.
yeah.
yeah, you got
I
positive
didn't even say
56 in
that.
fourth, and then Sheriff's on minus 32 in fifth. Like, it's kind of
Yeah.
nuts. I do want to say an even more impressive one than that on Women's League One. I did completely missed it, but Hartlepool are on in fourth, and I think they have like 7 wins or 6 wins or something like that. And they have a set difference of -2. Um, like that is the most impressive thing. I think there are seven. No, I think it must be like a 6-4 or something like that.
Mm.
And they're on a -2 set difference, which I think is amazing to be fourth with that. But anyway, Women's Super League. But yeah, Valkyries. I can't. What annoys me the most about Valkyries, right, is if they'd played as well as they have for the last like 4 league meets in that first league meet, I would have got my prediction right, and you guys would have been wrong. They like this time. If the rematch of Valkyries versus Derby is our match to catch, I am still going Valkyries. I'm doubling down on that.
Mm.
That's a lot of
I'd back
ifs and maybes,
Phantoms.
mate.
I don't think so.
If Meteors
Nah.
turned up with 2 players, everybody would have beaten them. Like you could,
No, that's not. It's not like that. They wouldn't. Valkyries wouldn't be in that position if they weren't good enough.
Yeah.
No,
They're
we've
definitely good.
always said they're good enough.
Yeah, yeah. I
We're
I
just
I
saying
I'd
that
back them.
they're the most volatile team in the league for
Yeah.
a reason.
And Derby are
Like,
very, very good at planning and coaching against specific players, which I think, Colm kind of said that about the Queen Bees match, is that like part of the reason they struggled is they didn't know what to do. And I think part of the thing that works in Queen Bees' favor is they didn't know the players. They know Valkyrie's players. Those players have been in that squad for ages.
Yeah, true. But I mean, you say inconsistent. Valkyries have drawn one, lost one. It's Derby that have drawn three. Like,
yeah,
They're
but they've
consistently
had some
drawing.
tight. Valkyries have had some tight results against people they should be absolutely battering on paper,
Yeah.
and have beaten teams that on paper they should be beaten by. Like, there's honestly like really unpredictable, but they're still clutching up victories. You can't take that away from them.
I stand by what I said. But yeah, any other comments before going on to the next league?
Next, an idiot. Next.
Yeah. Confirmed.
Fair enough. Men's League 2, Men's Super.
Let's go super. Why not?
Then we can absolutely rush Men's League 2 because no one cares about it.
Jesus.
Men's Super League. I did watch this, so I should remember what happened. But
Your memory's better than mine, though, mate.
oh no, I
could
definitely
say-
did not watch much of this because I was too busy watching the Women's League One, wasn't I?
Yeah, same.
Definitely the better league to watch.
What you mean?
Tom,
There was
you're a
some
men's Super
big
League
matchup.
expert.
There were some big matches this week. So I was in the
Yeah.
box for the two Killers game. One was more exciting than the other. Killers just had 2 really bad sets against Meteors that really cost them. One in the first half, which lasted about a minute 20, and then the very last set, when Meteors had a blue card, they still managed to win it within 60 seconds, which was very poor on their behalf. Whenever Killers were playing, their nice controlled, punish any mistakes style of play, they were picking up sets. Whenever they tried to lean into the chaos that can ensue against Meteors, they really got punished for it. There's some poor decision making from our behalf, a lot of fishing, a lot of giving away the fourth ball needlessly, and yeah, it cost them in the end. But there were times where Killers really showed the force they can be, and that's what they kind of have to build on. They were missing Aiden and Ross, who were big losses, I think they would have been the difference. And I think one thing Killers have been unlucky with this season is just going into the big matchups, missing some huge players, which has been unfortunate for them. But it's something they've tried to deal with and have done well in the majority of the games. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they play out. The other Meteors game is the even more interesting one, where one bloody set in it with sheriffs. I don't
Great
know how
results for
sheriffs.
Sheriff. Great results for Sheriff.
Can't wait to hear neutral zone.
Results weren't great. The scorelines were
No, no,
great.
no. But like for where they are
Like,
in the league and stuff,
That-
it's promising against those teams, right? Would you not say?
Oh, absolutely. But like, Sheriffs have always had the squad. It's just always been because they had the same thing whenever they played Killers the first time around. They lost by a set. Like, it's always been they're nearly there, but they always just quite miss out. And that's what's really punishing them. Like, to turn one of this, like, they've in a lot of the games I've watched of them, there's always been that one or two sets where they're like 3 or 4 players up, and they just never able to see it out. Like, something goes really, really wrong. They give away like a really stupid catch that wasn't needed. They throw a pointless single that ends up costing them, or they take their eye off the ball for a second. It's always been just that next level they need to go to start picking up victories, because they could easily be challenging for a medal if they had just taken some of those sets against the big teams. Like, Rangers and Meteors are not easy teams to play. So it was a big shock to me to see those results. And then you go on to another surprise result, which is Rangers versus Wessex. Wessex,
I was gonna say,
or the
what a
maddest
match.
who went from being battered 28-2 against Spartans.
And
I'll be
also,
honest,
after
I genuinely
after we
didn't watch.
absolutely roasted them last time as well because of their performance against Storm Twos.
Yeah.
Where
And I'll be honest, I still say deservedly so. To be
Oh
per-
no,
perfectly
I stand
honest.
by it, but it's just yeah.
And they go pull off a near massive upset against Rangers. That would have been huge if they could have even taken a draw off of them. Every points for them really counts right now. In the chase to get out of the relegation zone. They might even look back and see that as a missed opportunity. To be honest, I don't know how this played out. I genuinely, after seeing the result against Spartans, I went off for a wee break during this.
I'm waiting for that footage to go offline because it's not up
really
yet.
curious to
Wessex,
see it.
Wessex have got it right, so it will go on Wessex YouTube, I imagine.
So yeah, well, but I need to watch that whenever I can. But it looks like a very interesting game to look back and watch. The other game I watched was Spartans v Derby, and it looked really close at halftime. I think it was 5-5 halftime, 5 or 6-5 at halftime, and Derby just did not turn up for that second half. Spartans really stepped up to the next gear. Because I thought it was going to be a really good game, because the meet beforehand, Derby had chances to win it and threw it away. And I was like, you know what, if they can learn from their mistakes, I was expecting them to give a really good game against Spartans again. But Spartans stepped up, Derby didn't, and played out that way. There you go. There's your Super League breakdown.
Thank you.
Silvax, I will make a promise to you now that I will get around to watching one of your games this half of the season. Because I have not watched any. So all I've seen is their results, and yeah, I haven't got anything to say about it because they're performing about what I expected them to perform, to be honest. So, but I would like to go watch them and see how they are actually coping. Or not,
coping,
or not, as may be the case.
Oh, what a bad way to put it. poor Silverbacks.
What an honest way to put it, hey? What an honest way to put it. Anyway, the table. My point stands. They are in the relegation battle. They're 1 point.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
so,
definitely.
The only thing that's really on their favour at the moment is set difference, quite significantly. So, but yeah, that top two.
That's impressive from Derby to have 0 set difference.
Yeah,
I didn't think I'd ever see that.
To have
Very
lost 2 games.
satisfying.
Yeah.
They're fine. They're fine.
But it does show that the set difference, they are just beating up on the bottom half of the table, the bottom bit of the table.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's a bit harsh. Like they've had some really close games against the teams above them. Like they only lost to Killers by 2 sets,
yeah,
and that was like a potential to draw going into the final set. They had a close game against Spartans last time.
I
And
meant in general the top, right? Like, because even Sheriffs are
oh,
only,
sorry, yeah,
yeah, because like Sheriffs are on 10 set difference as well. So yeah, so yeah,
How mad though that like if like considering how many tight games Sheriffs have had, 3 of them they definitely could have won. They could have easily been taking that third spot.
Mm.
Like that's how tight it is for them. Like they easily could be in that um battle for a medal.
Very satisfying as well, looking at those overall points and seeing like the little groupings of people on the same points, like
Yeah.
Spartans, Meteors 18, Bees and Storm, and Rangers 14, Sheriffs and Phantoms on 8. That's just kind of that shows that it's not going just in a very linear fashion. It's kind of pairing off in interesting ways, and people are getting points in places you wouldn't necessarily expect, I think. So
Yeah, definitely.
nice.
yeah. No, it's
Anyway,
we'll see how that one plays out.
we'll
Could
see how
be
every league plays
interesting.
out.
Nah, I won't watch some of them.
You've already watched this
One
one.
silverback.
He promises.
I vow, I shall.
Depends on.
Anyway,
What a
go
win
on,
by
Joey.
Thunder
Give us.
Dodge against Virtue Empire. What a big result. That is a big win for them.
Yeah,
That's
huge.
Comprehensive win. More than can be said against than our win against Virtue, but yeah.
Honestly,
6
I
points.
was worried about you at one stage. I'll be honest.
I mean,
you made that look really fucking tough.
we did. We're really good at that. We're really good at that. Yeah.
If you carry that mentality into the next meet, I'd be very happy. I'll be honest.
Well, I think you're in luck anyway, because at the moment we've come away with I think points from every league meet apart from one, which was the Nighthawks. No, maybe we did. I can't remember. But generally we perform better in the first match when we play you second, so I think you're all right.
Wait, did we play you second?
Yeah, let's see.
I thought we played Nighthawks.
It's the last
to be
game of the
fair,
session.
you might be.
I've done the graphics, I know.
Moving on. Yeah, exactly. We'll move on from that. I'll be proved.
That'll be
wrong
next
at a later
episode.
Very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Spartans 2 beating my Eagles and Rangers 2 beating my Eagles. Bad day for the Eagles, I guess.
So
They're missing Arnie, aren't they?
yeah, partly he's out for a long time as
Yeah.
well, which is very
Rest of the
unfortunate.
season.
Wish him a speedy recovery, because
Yeah.
if it's what I've heard it is, it's not a nice injury to have. Bless him. But yeah, they're really struggling without him. They don't have that protection of their players like they're used to. And the rest of their players are kind of playing the same style they did like with Arnie there. And it doesn't work if you don't have that like really solid person like looking over you. They're not getting as many hits without Arnie, and they're not surviving as much. And his experience like really helped them get to the position they did. I'm pretty sure they were unbeaten with them there. Might be slightly wrong with that, but they were top of the table at the very least with them there, and they've now, I think, 5th. They've not picked up any points since he's been gone, I don't believe. Actually, no, minus the Virtue game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're really gonna have to start finding their feet without him and learning how to play a different style that works with the players they've got if they're gonna look to take any more points. Luckily for them is that they've won enough with whenever Arnie was there that they don't have to worry about any potential relegation battle really, which is a positive for them because it means they can just spend the season trying to adapt with the players that they've got.
Yeah, I think definitely got the players to do it.
Yeah.
It's just a case of executing, I think.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Um, yeah, I to be honest, most of these games are pretty cut and dry when you watch them.
Yeah.
That MK
Uh,
versus Rangers 2 game, like Rangers 2 got in their heads so quickly that MK just played consistently and Rangers did the
I
losing for them.
genuinely, I watched the first set and Rangers 2 dominated them so badly that I was like, what's the point of watching this? It's going to be a foregone conclusion. It was like they played that first set so well. And then I go, somebody was asking me, because I was like, oh, surely Rangers 2 battered them. And it's like, no, MK battered them 16-4. And I was like, should have stayed and watched that one.
Yeah, I was line refing it. It was pretty. It was just yeah. Rangers got in their own head and
I
MK just
also after
played it out.
what I heard that MK did really well compared after the first set was that they were really shit scared of Carrington, who's been playing the seconds, and they play if you watch the first set, they were shit scared of him. I was like,
Mm.
well, if they're bottling it now with him, they're going to do it for the rest of the game, which is why I walked away. And apparently they just went like, right, let's just stop worrying about him, pick off the rest of the players, and then worry about him whenever the chances come.
Yeah,
And they've done that.
and he didn't
And
he didn't have a great game. He ended up throwing his life away more often than not.
yeah,
In that,
I heard about that. Yeah.
like he was
Um,
he was making some key catches at great times, and he just didn't. He was trying to pull the team through, and he didn't need to because he's got great players around him. So if they had played a bit
well,
more
he's
cohesively,
used to. I think he's probably used to playing with a team who would turn things around, like for him if he
hmm.
did do something like that. You know what I mean? Like
Well, he's had a
going from
while
playing
out of
with.
dodgeball as well, hasn't he? So you know,
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Like he's probably not the level he was at beforehand, in terms of throwing, especially with the injury that he had. I imagine he'll probably slowly start picking up to where he was. He's still a very athletic guy after all. So it'd be interesting to see what he ends up doing for the second team.
yeah,
But yeah, they were able to pull it back in the second game against Beagles, which is what was really important for them, to be honest.
yeah, definitely. And then
Do you want to talk
do you
about?
want to talk about the game that you were really excited to be a part of for maybe two sets before making that really important decision for the team?
Oh, for God's sake! Yeah, okay,
So for audio
right.
listeners, we're talking about Spartans
He's trying to
to.
take away. He's trying to take away my happiness. So I
That's
wait,
what I'm
hold
here
on, right
for.
now.
That's what I'm here for, Colin. I love
Let's
you
finish. You
so
know what?
much, man.
You know what? Let's finish on a good note, right? So we'll let you talk about Leeds versus MK first.
Not much to say. The great consistency by the team when two people jump off court to get a ball and both miss it.
That was one of the funniest moments I've ever
That
seen.
was so good.
um,
That was genuinely fantastic. And Wolfie's face whenever he watched it happen was an absolute sketch. I wish I'd taken a photo of it, honestly.
sums up our season so far. The potential to do okay and still fall at the last hurdle. Moving on. That's all I have to say, to be
Anyway,
perfectly
so
honest.
yes, Worker Bees versus Spartans. We just didn't let them get out of the starting blocks, to be honest. Like we took the first 2 or 3 sets, and we really kept the momentum going. I'll be honest, I had an absolute stinker of a game personally, but the rest of the team really stepped up and played really well. And considering how many of our key players were missing, and we ended up having to bring up 3 soldier bees into the squad, this was a game where we done for from a coach's point of view, we wanted to at least walk away with a win from Sheriffs 2. We done that convincingly. Excuse me. And I just kind of went to the lads, right, now we just go into this game and we try to win every set by working our asses off. And we never really took into consideration the actual scoreline, until it was sort of tight at one stage in the second half, where I kind of we changed our sub policy from rotating every 2 sets to I pulled me and somebody else off, because it was the game defining set where if Spartans won it, they were back in the game. If we won it, it kind of killed the whole thing off. You know what I mean? With the time that was left, and we took it, and I genuinely Brennan had a fantastic game. Matt Kay had a fantastic game. Sam Wrench had a fantastic game stepping into the winger's role, which is where he hasn't really played a whole lot this season. Usually he's kind of like wing support player for us. But yeah, and the three soldiers, Jack, Josh, and Neil, all came up and settled in to the increased pace of the game very well. And had some big highlights of their own in the matches. And honestly, like I was incredibly proud of the team, coming out with that huge win. Because do you want to go to the league table now, mate?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I definitely need to get on that like sound clip soon, so I can just say I'm incredibly proud of the team from Colm just all the time.
It's better than being excruciating detail about Leeds.
That hurt
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
That hurt right here.
Oh,
Yeah. So all you want to boast about is that Bees are now second. Congratulations. I'm gonna be so pissed if you get promoted because I don't want a second. I stand by. I don't want a second team in the fucking Super League.
mate,
Storm 2 coming down, and
we're
then
fighting
Bees
for
2 go.
You had a chance.
the one thing I'll guarantee is that we'll work our asses off to not just get promotion, but we're going for that first place, mate.
Right, good luck with that one. But yeah, the only thing I want to say about that game as well was there were some insane catches. Like Josh and Sam made some really good catches. They were impressive catches. On the other side of it, you could also say the Spartans need to work on their ball placement a bit better because they were putting it in places where ultimately these players can put their hands and make the catch. And it's not like we haven't seen Bees make those catches before in other matches. And I'm just wondering whether it's a bit of I don't know, confidence that Spartans had that they were getting some wins behind them. They were, getting up there in terms of the table and install themselves as second place. That they were just starting to throw some dumbass throws that they didn't need to. That Bees were just feasting off of. Like in terms of like momentum and stuff, like Bees were just absolutely loving every second they got a catch. Definitely.
No, but that's the one thing that we do really well is we pick each other up, and if we have if we're playing poorly, then we pick each other up in that way as well. You know, we've become a really tight unit, both in training and on match days, and that has made such a huge difference. Like our mentality going into league meets compared to from the first meet till now is chalk and cheese. Like, and it's made such a huge difference to have everybody kind of invested in the squad now, because we had a few new people kind of coming in, and even though the squads have been chopping and changing a bit, from necessity, we're still able to kind of keep that. We are going to go for every single set, as hard as possible, and it has worked really well, and we've really kind of built on the momentum. Like after that first meet, they said we've only had one loss since whenever we lost 25-3, I think it was, or 24-2.
Yeah.
Nobody would have predicted that.
Yeah. I think that as someone who's watching like on the sidelines, I think I was taking photos during that match as well, so I was very much like right close to the Spartans box at certain points. That was the thing that really stood out to me, was the mentality. And Spartans have this tendency to get, they're quite an aggressive team sometimes in the way that they talk to each other. And I just have this very crystal clear memory of like, I think they went down one of the sets in the first half against you, and Dan Doherty like turns around and goes, "Come on, guys!" and like really aggressively trying to pump people up, and you're like, what? Like, he was so angry and trying to make them positive. I was like, how is that going to work? They're just going to get angry because you're getting angry, and you're trying to tell them not to get angry, but you're saying it in an angry way. And it's just, and he'll, I'm sure I'll hear from him for saying that, but it was really funny to me just hearing that and then looking over to the Bees lads and they're smiling. And it's easy to smile when you've just gone up a set, but when Bees go down a set, you see it in some of the footage that I've got of Bees, and like Colm will be there like clapping people up, being like heads up type thing. He's not aggressively shouting at people to stop being aggressive. Like, it's...
No.
I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but like the way Spartan's been playing recently, at least, I'm starting to feel like in the most un-Spartans like way, it feels like they've got 8 players that play a very similar game, and that's it. Like it's 8 individuals that all have a similar play style. I
Mm.
don't like. There's times where I just feel like they don't really have any cohesion as a team, and I don't know why. Because they usually, this is the one
It's
thing that we
it's
always
what they're
said
known
about Sparta.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is just being very well drilled. Um,
Yeah.
but that
And they
that's
played
I couldn't
together.
tell you.
Sorry.
So I was going to say I couldn't tell you what changed between before Christmas and this meet because
they've destroyed to us.
on paper, well, honestly, possibly because on paper we had to bring up 3 soldiers and we lost Liam to the Killers and we lost Stan, who has been a huge asset to us all season. Eddie, we're also missing as well. Who has been fantastic all season. Like on paper, like we had a weaker team than we usually do. And we still managed to come away with a comfortable victory against somebody we drew
Mm.
with a stronger squad last time. And I don't think Spartans 2 changed at all, to be honest, from the last meet. Um,
What,
so
like
I
which
generally,
player?
yeah.
Or just yeah.
I honestly struggle to tell you like what the main differences was. Other than I could tell you what felt on court was that we were strong as a unit. And as always, we played that really strong game of punishing any mistakes and taking our opportunities where they come. Like that's our bread and butter is looking for those chances and taking them whenever they appear.
Yeah. And talking
Versus
to Spartans, they didn't have that. Like if you talk to any of
no,
those Spartans 2's lads, they're like, yeah, the synergy wasn't there. We weren't playing as a team, and we don't know why we haven't been playing as a team, but it's been off for a few meets now. It kind of seems like they'll still take wins, but like the energy just seems a little bit off from where it was at the start of the season.
yeah, not
They've
definitely.
got too much talent to be where they are at the moment.
Yeah.
They're still up there.
Yeah,
like,
they
to
are.
be
They are.
fair.
But they've got what 3 draws at this point. That's. But the only thing I want to say before we move on, because time is very very short. Thunder Dodge out of the relegation zone. Like
Huge,
come on,
absolutely huge.
God, make us all very happy and stay in League One for another season.
I'd love it. I want them to continue their legacy of getting relegated and still managing to stay up through shenanigans from other teams. Like it's got to be the best record known to man, right?
At this rate, it's still looking like it could happen because I think at worst they might finish 9th, like, or they will finish.
Yeah,
9th.
but
It takes one team to drop out.
Just watch MK Cyclones fold and not stay up.
Oh, just 2 teams just vanish like that. Fair enough. Anyway, moving on. Men's League 2.
Painful.
Yes, very very much so. I'm trying to remember if these are the right results.
Yeah, well, I know
They
the
are.
MK Cyclones Soldiers one's right.
Yeah. No, because it was just. I think that's 2 losses Wizards have to Phantoms 2 now, isn't it? Which I wouldn't have expected beforehand. I can't remember, but I definitely feel like that was something that was stuck in my mind was that result.
Man's telling me no.
Let's not see
Anyway.
that one. Yeah.
Don't want to get copyright stricken,
on our first stream. But yeah, like it's man, Wizards, the consistency, it pains me. Like losing to Phantoms and then beating Wolves 2 fairly convincingly by the same margin that they lost to Phantoms 2. It's just like, what? Please explain.
Oh, right, yeah. And the fact that they beat them by the exact same score that Ronda, who are the best team in the league, says a lot. It says a lot. Like we've said it all season. Come on, like the Wizards can play some really good dodgeball, and the quality of player that they've got is very good for the league they're in. So yeah, I've been shocked by a number of results. To be fair, Derby Phantoms too have some really good players
Yeah.
as well. Like they've got players that could easily play in League One. So I'm not that's not a dig at them at all. It's just I would expect, and I've been called out for saying this in a few Fs, is that I do expect them to perform or at least get better results than they've been getting
What
anyway.
Wizards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. They are at this point. If we are going to, talk about doing awards at the end of the season, Wizards are up there for biggest disappointment of the year. Just
What
with,
savage. Jesus
like
Christ.
Jesus.
no, they all understand. They can do so much better than they have, and they know they can do so much better, and it is frustrating to
A
see
few
them
of them have
not.
talked to me about it, and they've agreed. Like, there's just
Yeah.
something not
Like,
not working
and
out.
it's not, and I don't mean it in like a hugely critical way. It's one of those just like, man, it is like it breaks your heart to see it because you just like they can do better and you want them to do better. They're a team that you want to root for, but they're just like, how do you lose to Phantoms 2 like that and then beat Wessex 2 like that? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
I
get it.
need to get around to watching that because
And I bet you it's
I
going to be
do
like
wanna.
they play Ronda next time, and I bet you that's going to be a one set difference. It's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
um, yeah. So yeah, I can't really remember much else that happened in this league, to be honest. I think the
I
Raptors Storm
watched
3 game was that's a tough loss for Storm to take.
Yeah.
huge. Like I'll be honest. Like Storm 3, in terms of the players that they have, again, I just feel like something isn't clicking that well because they should be doing a bit better than what I've seen of them. I feel like there's probably a bit too many, rash or flashy players, whatever you want to kind of call it, who try to go into hero mode a bit too often. But yeah, it's a big win for Raptors, to be fair. And that's probably a game I'd like to watch back and kind of see what happened if I get the opportunity to.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah,
and
Storm 3
then
definitely have the possibility to stay up there in the league and be good.
oh yeah, definitely. The only other game in this league I was able to watch was MK versus Soldiers. I watched that back from our footage, and it's really annoying because Soldiers played some sets really really well, and there was 2 or 3 sets where they were a few players up, but their ability to close out sets is really poor, really really poor, and they're really lacking experience because I think the most experienced player there is George probably. And after that, you're talking at max like 2 years of actual competitive play.
But Jack
On
Jack was
average
playing,
between.
wasn't he?
No, Jack was in as in workers.
Okay.
Jack, Josh, and Neil got promoted, so all
Okay.
of like the really experienced players weren't there. Um, and even if you had Jack there, there still seems to be a bit of disconnect within the team as they're playing, in terms of how they approach, like especially 2 ball attacks. They just seem to be just shy of what they should be doing. Not making the big hits. They're not taking as many catches as they come in as you'd be expecting. Like I see them at training, I know what they're capable of, and it's just trying to turn those training performances into league is where the experience is really showing. Because a prime example is their result against Mustangs. I watched them the last time they played Mustangs. Watched the footage back, and again, solid bases for a squad, but decision making really cost them. And I haven't been able to watch it back this time, but I imagine a lot of it is the same, where the Mustangs just capitalized on a not really well drilled squad. But yeah, that's all
Yeah.
I can input on.
Yeah, no.
That's
I mean,
so much more than I'd be able to say.
it's I like the other thing I would say is Wessex. Just their results have been, sometimes they've been well off the mark, and sometimes they've been very, pulling out really close results against teams that they probably shouldn't be. And it's just like, yes, I think they're a team that if they get some consistency, they could turn some of those close matches into wins, and it could be a different story for them. But looking at this table, like it's difficult now because this table's really started to solidify as
Yeah.
you know where the teams kind of are.
Yeah.
Like I know, Coventry, Silverbacks, you guys, spoke to a couple of you, and you know that we don't talk about you that much. It's because you're just consistently winning, and then you lose to Ronda because Ronda are that, they're good. So it's like it's not a real knock on Silverbacks. It's just that you're kind of beating who you're expected to beat, and you lost to Ronda, and that's no shame on you. Like I think you pretty much got that second place sewn up, unless
Yeah.
Storm 3 can sort something out and pull out a win against Silverbacks and Ronda and have a bit of help on their side. But other than that, I think you know which two are coming up next to League One next year. As for relegation, I will have to see. I think there's still an outside chance that Soldier Bees can get outside, but I probably
Well, I
don't see
think
that happening.
we're gonna have like pretty much everybody available for selection, which means a lot more experienced players are gonna have to go back into soldiers, which they'll benefit from. And I think the big break in between the next meet and the meet after is where we'll see kind of hopefully take a lot of more time to help develop soldiers as a squad. Now that we have like a good break in between and help them develop, which because there is definitely with the squads they've had, they shouldn't be without a single point, realistically in my eyes. So and we're going to try and work hard to rectify that. So yeah, I would expect them to probably be in the relegation zone at the end of the season, but hopefully they'll go out swinging is what we're trying to aim to do at the very least.
Sure, and yeah,
Yeah.
the only thing as well is Wizards. Like as much as I've just said, they've been inconsistent and the biggest disappointment. You're like, take this. You've now halfway through the season, you're 1 point behind the top half of the table. You're 2 wins behind third. They could still end up with a medal here. It's not out of the realm of possibility. They can definitely do it.
They need to play that speech before every match, as the hype
Fuck 'em, Alan!
Up the Wizards!
I mean, when their new kit comes,
Fucking magic!
Abra fucking Cadabra. Yeah, no, maybe their new kit will give them some extra pizzazz on court. Like, I mean, we all know that better kit gives an extra 10% boost every time. So, but yeah, I think that's
always designed for Leeds then to try and give you a chance.
Maybe. No comment.
Maybe the owl bird poop on the shoulders. What's it's the bird? That's a chip on your shoulder now, isn't it?
Chip? You mean shit on the shoulder?
It's good luck. Emily Walker was trying to convince me that it's good luck to have a bird shit on your shoulder. I'm like, I don't know much about British customs, but surely that's not right.
Just
show
show
her the result supposed to be. Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Show her the result against the White Tigers and see if.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't good. That did.
That wasn't a bird shitting on you. That was a tiger shitting on you.
That's so much worse.
Well done. I like that one. I like that one.
Thank you. But anyway, let's wrap things up. So yeah, not much else to say. I think we're planning on streaming next episode again, so we should be streaming from now on when we record. I will try and get the audio out for our podcast listeners ASAP. It depends on when YouTube lets me download it. And yeah, so make sure you subscribe so you keep an eye out on what's going on. Go find us on our social medias. All the memes and all the results and stuff will be up there. I am looking at trying to get the who's reffing when on the graphics as well. No promises yet, but I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm experimenting.
People have fully given up on using like British Dodgeball's Excel spreadsheets, and they're just looking at those documents now, like your graphics, to decide where they need to go.
Instagram to
yeah, absolutely. I was the exact same.
Yeah, and this
is where.
Go on.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say the other thing to note. We do apologize for the shorter episode and the no matches to catches and predictions and stuff. Well, we'll get that out on Instagram at later date, I imagine.
That's what I was going to say. We're recording again next week, I believe, which is the week of League, which will be, that's when we're looking forward. So this is our looking back episode. The looking forward episode next week. I don't know if
Sure.
yeah, I don't know if we're going to do this format going forward, but we'll definitely we'll play it by ear. You know, we're winging it this year. And hey, we finally got to streaming, so I think that's a massive pat on the back to all of us for finally getting here. Just massive round of applause for Colm and Zoe for both turning up this week. Really, really appreciate it, guys.
The bare minimum.
Yeah, it turns out we don't actually hate each other, as
It's-
some were conspiracy
don't?
theories were throwing around. Oh, what?
What?
This where
I
I
mean-
just click the disconnect button.
This is, that would mess up the graphics so bad if you did that.
Yeah, I know.
I'd be so angry with you. Not because
Honestly, if it wasn't gonna mess it up, I definitely would have done it.
Yeah.
it's not because that you'd leave and then it was just us, like me and Zoe left. It's because you leave and then you'd see a messed up Zoe and then like
Yeah.
half of Discord. But yeah, no. I forgot what I was going to say now. Clearly very important. But, oh yeah, I was going to say shout out to. I saw we had a max of 10 viewers at one point. Like
Jesus, why?
Get a
Who?
life, folks. Get a life.
For a Wednesday evening.
who's
Something
watching
interesting.
who's watching their subscription feeds to watch? I mean, that's a good thing, you know. We tell us to
Yeah, no, thank you. Nice. Thank you for listening to us.
drop a like on the stream as well. It really helps. Or at least I'm told it helps. I don't actually know. I haven't seen the proof yet. But also,
Haven't seen the
I
proof yet.
can see the proof that half of you are watching this and are not subscribed. So please smash that subscribe button. We
How do they find us if they're not subscribed?
I know.
What?
crazy.
So weird.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, but yeah, hopefully we'll be back next week, and
Yeah.
we'll also have some graphics for Uni Leagues going live as well, hopefully. So
and let us know if you like the divided
man's-
up format as well.
yes, no promises on that because I like having Wednesdays free. So
Yeah,
we
same.
might be doing like shorter episodes, but it's still more Wednesdays.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what we do. Anyway, I'm gonna click stop stream. I'm gonna